Hello, our lovely listeners. This is your sunshine, Ray Johnson. And look who's back and better than ever and healthy from being sick, our luminous star, Lauren Green.
I'm back. Hi, everyone.
Yay, you were
I'm
so missed.
Yep, I'm COVID free after I want to say 3 weeks. So woohoo!
Yay!
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, last month, actually a month ago today, yep, I kept track of that. I found out that I had COVID for the first freaking time. Like for 5 years, ever since the pandemic started, I avoided it. And I often used to joke that, oh, I guess COVID doesn't like me, which I was fine with because I had some close calls with it being exposed, like in college and just in my personal life a few times, but I never caught it. Thank God. And that's not to like rub it in anyone's face who's had it, not at all. But yeah, I just couldn't believe it, and I would say my experience, I didn't feel like I was going to die or that I needed to be in the hospital, but it wasn't easy. Like that was the worst cough I've ever had, and the chills, the sweats were the worst. So I never want to go through that again, ever.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful for you that it, like, comparatively to when it first came out, that it wasn't as bad. And also, hello, what's your immune system like to have avoided it in the peak of it? But anyway.
Yeah. So for those of you who have never had it, don't get it. You do not want it.
Yeah, it's not worth getting off work or whatever like silly excuse you might have for yourself because I had it twice during the height of it and it wasn't fun. And funnily enough, because I have bad sinuses, the first time I had it, I didn't even think I had it. I'm like, oh, my sinuses are just really bad, but it's just kind of on the worst end. It might be an infection. It was sinus infection of COVID, you know? I'm just very grateful for you that even though it still kind of sucked, that it wasn't too bad. And I did pray for you as I told you. Um, and I'm glad those prayers worked and that everything went pretty cool, all things considered. I mean, literally, you had chills. But anyway, I'm glad you're better.
Thank you, and I'm glad you made it through that too. The two times you had it, I felt so bad.
Yeah. And now we can both say literally, and we both recovered and all that fun stuff.
Yes, we did because we're survivors.
Yes, cue Gloria Gaynor. Well, thankfully, Lauren is back with us, and we get to talk about something a lot more fun than getting sick. This topic today is about food because we have alluded to in earlier podcasts of jokingly doing a whole episode to food, but it's not a joke anymore because we're actually committing to the bit and doing it. And I'm going to start us off with something really simple. So, as some of you may know, if you follow me on Instagram, stuff like that, I recently was honored, as of last month in June, the Congressional Gold Medal Award for all the community service I've done over the years. And it only counted from when I was 17 because I technically have done stuff sooner, like when I was 13, 14, so on. But, it's like high school age for getting the awards. That's the earliest they would let you count. And I'm just very blessed, first of all, to even think to fathom believe that I was able to accomplish all that. And it just goes to show when it's written on paper just how much I've done to, be a part of different communities and grow as a person through the whole process in ways that I may not have at the time of my life that I am at this point. It may have been later in life if I didn't do all these things that I did. So I'm blessed for that. One of the things that really touched my heart, other than the things I've mentioned before, like being an assistant coach for First Tea and stuff like that for kids, was definitely when I did the Interfaith Food Shuttle for young moms, young single moms that were trying to figure out once they did give birth and stuff like that, healthy meals to make for their babies and, for the current moment for them to making sure they're feeling themselves right. And it was just such a remarkable experience. And they were all so sweet to me and they were just incredible people to, not feel ashamed to reach out for help. Because sometimes in those situations, you can just want to tend to close yourself off and try to handle things on your own instead of seeking help. So I'm grateful for them and their hearts that they opened up to that and that we were able to in all the ways that we could. And I was an assistant for that, especially because of how young I was at the time. but I'm so glad I did that experience. And it just makes me that much more grateful for the current blessings that I have. And, with food, it's a very powerful thing and enriching, literally for nutrients, but also the feeling accomplished with making something. And I also felt an accomplishment with the people's lives I touched over the years and hopefully continue to touch. Um, and it's just amazing that there's even a award program like that where you can do like hundreds of hours to help other people and be rewarded for it. And it seems more like other people's award in addition to mine as far as like them helping me. And I just, I still, even though I went through the ceremony and everything, I still can't believe I have it. um, and with Interfaith Food Shuttle, tying more closely into food, I definitely learned a lot more about like nutrients with like reading the labels and stuff and the education of that. And one of the things that's really cool about this recipe I'm about to talk about is that it actually was some research I did for my virtual exploration program as part of the Congressional Award, where I virtually traveled to Japan to write a paper about street food culture. And one of the things I researched that was an easy recipe to do was some Japanese corn. And my sweetheart husband loves it every time I make it. All it is that you boil it in a pot full of water for 4 minutes, and then you take that out and then you put them in the pan. You put soy sauce and butter and mirin, which is this type of like sweet syrup stuff. And then you can also put like red pepper flakes, and there's like specific Japanese spice that has that same flavor profile, but it's easier to get red pepper flakes unless you're able to go to an Asian market or something for the specific kind. And I don't want to butcher pronouncing it, but it will be written down and listed somewhere in this. But that's like the topping for afterwards. So in the actual pan skillet for the corn, you have the butter and soy sauce and mirin, and then that's like the sauce and the coating, and you just coat it around and all that until it's done, which also isn't as long. And then you top it with that peppery topping. When I first looked at the recipe before I made it, I thought it just sounded kind of crazy because obviously it's something I'm not used to. I'm used to, street food corn here in America where it's like butter and Old Bay and that's it. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's good too. But this is really good as well. So it's fun and easy to do, and it doesn't take too long. You just got to make sure if you're making other things like steak or whatever that you time it right because you're using two different cooking devices of the pot and the skillet. But yeah, that's literally all you have to worry about. Everything's pretty easy for it. Yeah, that's my starter recipe, if you will, for this podcast. And I'm going to hand it over to Lauren so she can yap away herself about one of her favorite recipes.
Glad to. And that sounds easy enough. By the way, congratulations on that congressional award. And I know you were saying that you would have never imagined that you would receive that. Well, I can because I know I know how much you care about your community and how hard you worked over the years too, trying to serve your community and help others. So I can't think of anyone else more deserving of that than you.
Stop! I'm gonna blush. Like, blush so hard.
Well, it's true because I like to see that. I like to see people, especially young people, getting involved in their communities and trying to make a difference in other people's lives. So I think that's just remarkable.
Gosh. And I know you're doing the same thing, like, in your own ways with the internship that you got. Like, yay.
Yeah.
I just know how kind hearted of a person that you are. And so it doesn't surprise me in the least bit that you're probably impacting people around you more than you think, too.
Oh, thanks. I hope so. Because sometimes I wonder, am I doing a good job? Am I doing everything right? Which I think I am. Yeah, I think they see it too. Hopefully. But anyways, yeah, to get into favorite recipes, I'll just start by saying I have loved to cook and bake ever since I was a little kid. I would help my parents in the kitchen because I've always loved food. I've always been a foodie. So, anyways, I would say 2 years ago, after I graduated college, I started learning and exploring new recipes, particularly because I didn't have a job for 9 months. Because, the application process was tough. So I figured, well, if I can't work, I might as well pursue something that I'm going to enjoy and make good use of my time. So I explored different recipes. And one of my favorite dinner recipes that I like to make is goat cheese chicken and pasta salad and asparagus. And I'll just go through like piece by piece how I would prepare it. So with asparagus, I usually do either I'll steam it with either in water or wait, not water. I'll just like steam it on the skillet first, and then I season it beforehand with salt and pepper, and then I like to season it after it's cooked with lemon juice and dill and lemon butter. Basically, you combine the lemon juice and the butter in the microwave, you melt it, and then you pour it over and add the dill. And recently, I just learned that a better way to add another topping is to combine like lemon juice and vinaigrette dressing and Parmesan cheese and sprinkle it over the asparagus. And it was delicious. Oh my gosh.
I've already had dinner and you're making me hungry just with the asparagus alone. I can only imagine the rest of your meal here.
Oh, for sure. I wish we could add pictures of our recipes too, because people would really want to try them. But yeah, so for the pasta salad, it's pretty easy. I just boil the rotini pasta in the skillet or a large pot for about like 15 minutes, if that, because it cooks pretty fast. And I usually cut up olives, onions, and what else? Like little baby tomatoes and cucumbers. You combine those and you combine them with the pasta, and then you like pour olive oil over it. Either that, or you could, but I prefer to use the vinaigrette dressing. Then you add some like not blue cheese. What is it? I can't think of it at the moment, but it's some kind of cheese that you add, and then you just refrigerate it for at least 2 hours, and it's done, and it's delicious.
I mean, I'm not sure if I personally could wait the 2 hours, but
I can't either. Oh, I know it. How did I not remember this? It's mozzarella. So simple. How did I forget that?
hey, sometimes the simplest things, it's just because it's so part of nature, I guess, to be like, oh yeah, you just kind of forget.
Yeah, but yes, it's mozzarella. That's the cheese that you use. I should just like stick that like to my forehead next time, just so I don't remember. I don't forget it.
Just have like a sticky
Yeah.
note in the fridge on the mozzarella cheese. Mozzarella.
Use for pasta salad. Yes. Yeah, and so that's really good. And then the last part, the with the goat cheese chicken. Actually, I decided to start preparing different recipes with that last year because I went to my friend's house in New York last summer, and her mom made goat cheese chicken for dinner one night, and it was delicious. And I was like, oh my gosh, how does she make this? So I found some recipes online, and I'm not sure everything that I would use, but I know that I would like season the chicken with black pepper and seasoning salt, and the in the end the goat cheese goes on top, and I would like usually cook it in chicken broth with garlic. Yeah, lots of garlic, and anyone who knows me knows that I use a lot of garlic when I cook because my mom was saying the night after that she could still like taste the garlic in her mouth, and she could still like smell it on her clothes. She's like, "How much garlic did you make?" And even when I'm in the kitchen like cooking dinner, she told me I could smell the garlic all the way back in my room. Yep. I'm like, "Yeah, you know how I do it."
Oh my goodness. I knew I liked you. I love garlic too. Like, literally, if it's not um that I it's either I between cuz I grew up being a hot sauce person where I'd put that on everything. But as far as like spices, if it's not garlic, it's turmeric. It's always one of those two for me that I just put on everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'll go more into turmeric later, but uh just all these fun descriptions get me sidetracked. And I'm so sorry, but you can finish out your goat cheese chicken recipe.
No, no, don't be sorry. No, seriously, I think garlic makes recipes a lot better because it adds more flavor to it. Yeah, and I think like the one other ingredient you use, it's like I don't know what it's called, but it's like in the store they have like these small jars of like crushed tomatoes and the oil, and you're supposed to use the oil in the goat cheese chicken recipe when you're cooking it in the skillet. So I know that I use that, and I'll have to look at the other ingredients, but those are the main components that you would use, and I love it. I think that's one of my favorite chicken recipes.
I think that'll be my new favorite chicken recipe. I'll have to try that.
You should, yeah. The next time, I think the next time you come to Florida, I'll have to make it for you.
Oh, yeah, I hope there's a way I can just trek to Florida at some point, because I really do want to see you in person so bad, because it's been so long.
I know it's been 3 years.
No, don't say it, because now it feels even longer.
All right, we'll just pretend it's only been 3 days.
Yeah, yeah. Blissful ignorance, yep.
That's easier.
But all that sounds so good. I mean, it would also be cool that no matter how we meet up, whether it is me coming to Florida or you coming to North Carolina, like, no matter how it aligns in the stars, so to speak, um, it would be so cute if we just, like, had, like, an accommodation where that we stayed at where we could just cook a bunch of things. That would be really cool.
Yes, I would love that. Or
Remember that one time in the High Point
maybe down
kitchen?
the line we could open a restaurant.
I doubt that, because as far as like me personally, because man, I see those restaurant food shows and it's just like, man, it gives me that much more respect for people who do it for a living, because so much goes into that.
I know it's a lot of work.
Oh man, it's just crazy like how stressful those environments can be, because like things have to be timed exact and cooked exactly and given to the customer in a reasonable amount of time. Like, man, I don't know how to do it. But yeah, just it's so cool just trying different foods and stuff, and how even with the chicken recipe you just mentioned, how you got inspiration to make it yourself from a friend's mom. It's just you never know where you get inspiration sometimes. Speaking of moms, though, my next recipe for me is um, one that I'm so grateful my mom gave me the like exact recipe for, and it's her eggplant casserole. It's so good. And I know I've told you about it before, but it's lamb and eggplant, and since it is casserole, there's like tomatoes, and it's layered with cheese and everything, and it's just so good. Um, it's been a while since I've made it personally. I mean, I definitely do make the corn a lot more because it's easier. But basically, you cut the eggplant in little rounds, and since this is a layered thing in the casserole dish, you don't want to make the rounds too thick. So you try to make them as thin as possible, but also where it's kind of easy to cut it. You don't want it to be like a mandolin, like that thin. And then there's also cinnamon incorporated too. So you actually put the cinnamon on the eggplant rounds. And so before you do that, though, you have to pat down some of the water, because, it's a very water-held type of vegetable. And you also put olive oil on it. Since you are getting rid of some of the moisture, you kind of have to reintroduce it with that. And the lamb is already cooked in a skillet. And you can get it, like the lamb, in kind of like the more kind of ground beef type of style, like that you would use for hamburgers, but you can have like the crumbled up lamb, so it's easier to deal with and not have to worry about breaking down a lamb chop. Highly recommend that. And you have the tomato sauce with it, like regular pasta tomato sauce. And of course, you can get the one that has herbs already in it, or add your own to spice it up however you want to. And you start layering things with the cheese, and that the cheese is all dependent on what you want. It can be mozzarella, it can be cheddar, it's like whatever. I love Gouda personally, but I rotate between different cheeses because I'm just a fiend for that. And um, like if I go to a Mexican restaurant, watch out, I might not share my queso with you. um, and then you just layer it as much as you can, and you typically start with the layering with the eggplant rounds, and then you do some of the tomato sauce, and then cheese, and then you just keep going until you can't. And it takes about uh, 30, 40 minutes, depending on, temperature and how hot your oven can get, because every oven is different. And man, it is so good. And I'm sure I left out some miscellaneous steps, like more detailed things. But man, it's so good. And it's funny because when Mom introduced me to that, I was still like decently young, I mean, obviously I wasn't 4, but I was like, middle school, high school. And so when my mom would talk about some of the things I'd eat when other parents were like, what does your kid eat? When I did get out of my, chicken nugget, macaroni and cheese phase, Mom did introduce some really cool dishes to my palate like that. And they're like, wow, your kid eats something like that? It's like, yeah, But, it's so good, and it's so filling, and especially it's really good. You know how like soup's a comfort food? It can be like that for the fall or winter because it's really warm and gooey and stuff, and savory, and yeah, I just like it. Now I need to go make it. No, I'm kidding, but yeah, it's so good. And I don't know where she learned it. Now that I think about it, I've just kind of always been like, this is normal because Mom introduced me to it. But I'm sure she has a cool story of where she got inspiration from it. It may have been from one of her travels before I was born or something like that. But yeah, just so good.
It sounds good, and you're right. I like how you said that your mom's friends were impressed by the fact that you were open and willing to try new recipes, and it's true because I think that parents have to introduce their kids to different recipes when they're young so that they can acquire a taste for it. Rather than giving them the typical chicken nuggets and fries and mac and cheese or hot dogs all the time, let them try like cuisine dishes and let them decide from there, like, okay, I like this not so much, but they're learning.
Yeah, so true. And I mean, of course, kids are going to be really picky when they're younger because the taste buds aren't fully developed like when you're an adult to like really appreciate different things like spices or whatever. Um, so it can be a progression at different rates because of that for kids. And of course, they're going to want things that are more familiar for them, like chicken nuggets and stuff. And so I'm really grateful that there was one time where Mom was just getting tired of it because I was the one demanding it. And Mom's like, okay, fine. And so she's like, you know what? I'm actually tired of this. So, and I don't blame her, and I'm grateful. She waited like 30 minutes, and for a kid, that's a long time to wait for dinner. And instead of giving me chicken nuggets like usual or whatever I was really picky about eating, she started cooking a meal, and I think it was like beef or steak or something like that. Something like simple like that, but for me as a kid, that was like, whoa, this is so different. But it was like a really nice dinner, and she made sure I was hungry enough for it so I'd have no choice but to eat it. And I'm glad that she did it that way because, I ate something, I discovered that I liked it, and like you were saying, it is important for kids to expand their palate and introduce foods like that slowly to incorporate into their diet. And especially because I know as kids, there's the whole stigma of vegetables. And so I feel like with the way you're describing the asparagus, I feel like any kid would love that, because it makes it taste so much better. Something that to them, like when they visualize it and see it, comes across as very bland or something. It's just this green thing on a plate. But, douse that stuff in butter or lemon or whatever, it's going to be a lot better.
It would. I was thinking the same thing because I think a part of the reason kids don't like vegetables is usually because sometimes parents will buy them from the store, like in the packs, and they have no flavor. So personally, I don't like them either, even to this day. But that's why I prefer to go to the I prefer going to the produce section and buying the real vegetables. And well, I mean they're real, but I prefer to cook it myself. And I think when you like boil it in like chicken broth, that gives it more flavor than when you season it with different spices like salt and pepper or paprika. Then you season them with other things too. I think that makes it more savory, and I think kids will like it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I feel like every time we talk about some sort of like recipe or fun, easy solution, like what we just talked about with vegetables, it just makes me want to eat that thing instantly. Maybe the listeners are really hungry too now, even if you've already eaten.
Well, hey, if they are, I say treat yourself. Yeah, as a midnight snack, go like whip up some of the recipes that we're talking about.
Oh my goodness, speaking of treating yourself and whipping it up, how about we discuss desserts?
Yes, please. Oh my god, I love desserts.
So for me, it's actually been kind of hard in the sense of, um, and it's kind of sweet how David feels bad about it, but I can't have eggs. So that's really hard in the dessert world because most things are baked with eggs. Um, More so egg whites. So sadly, since ever since I found out in late high school about my sensitivity, thankfully I don't have any like serious reaction like hives or anything, but still enough to upset my system. I will politely say. But weirdly enough, it's more so the egg whites, and the egg yolk is like two steps down of seriousness. So that's like interesting. I'm surprised it's not the whole part of the egg on the same level of severity, so to speak. And even though I don't have too terribly adverse reactions of like hospital wise, I've just done so well to where I'm like, well, now if I reintroduce it to myself, I don't want to feel like I have to write myself all over again kind of deal. So I've come up with solutions like using yogurt instead for when I make brownies or muffin like chocolate muffins or things like that at home, and it's actually surprisingly good and you can't really notice it except for the only thing you really notice, especially if you use something like vanilla Greek where it's not an obvious flavor profile like, strawberry yogurt, obviously you taste the strawberries, but it actually gives things like brownies a bit more of a moussier texture, so it tastes like light and you don't feel as guilty about eating it. So that's actually pretty cool too, that I've come to notice. It's so funny, because he's so sweet and considerate about it. David's like, well, I'm not gonna eat this if we're like went to a little bakery or something, because you can't have it and I want to share it with you. I'm like, well, honey, if you really want that dessert, because I know how much you like sweets, then go get it. He's like, well, no, I want to make sure you have it, so I'm gonna get something we can both have. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so, and that's something that I found interesting. And funnily enough, there's some things in Japanese culture, like mochi and stuff like that, that I can have. That's sweet, that's dessert like. Other than that yogurt substitute, one of the things I absolutely love is a dessert. Honestly, different types of ice cream, like chocolate chip cookie dough, and I'll be bougie sometimes and indulge with that with the coconut milk. Man, coconut milk makes it taste sweeter in my opinion, so it's just like even more indulgent for me. And before I found out about the whole egg thing, something I used to have a lot was cobblers and stuff because, Southern staple. I absolutely loved things in that realm of like peach filled desserts of pies and stuff like that. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to figure out a way around that now. But yeah, just I'm more of a savory person. Like, I feel like everyone as a kid at some point like loves desserts because obviously kid you're gonna like sweet. But I've grown into more of a savory adult, so I very rarely have desserts compared to David, and it's really cute when I like see him getting a dessert. I'm like, I don't know why, but just him eating something sweet is just really cute to me for some reason. Even though I think everything he does is cute because I'm married to him or whatever. But I just I love sweet things, but because, I'm 25 now and stuff and don't have the kid palate anymore in the sense of really young kid, I still act like a kid sometimes, kid at heart, but I like lighter sweetness. I've found I gravitated more towards that instead of like gives you diabetes type sweet in one thing, you know? I've just noticed that about myself over the past few years. So now that I've had that spiel, Lauren, I'll let you talk about your favorite types of desserts and stuff.
All right. So I would say my favorite dessert, and anyone who knows me would know this, it's cake. Any kind of cake, because I had cake for the first time on my first birthday, which I don't remember, but anyways, my parents bought this big Costco cake. And do you have Costco's in North Carolina?
We do. I mean, from where Dave and I live, there's not one close to us, but back at my parents' place, there's a Costco decently close to them, yeah.
Okay, because yeah, I'm not sure if you've had the Costco cakes, but I grew up mostly on Publix cakes. So for my first birthday party, we had like a giant Costco cake, and they're really big, and they had that filling of mousse, like whether it's chocolate, strawberry, or vanilla. I'm not sure which one it was, but I just know that my mom said that they were giving me different dishes of food and putting it on my high chair table, and one of my mom's friends said, "Put some cake on her table, or put some frosting on her lips." So my mom did, and she said the way my eyes just lit up, I was like, y'all been hiding these sweets from me all this time." So yeah, I say like cake was my first love. Okay, no, it wasn't. My mom was, but
Your first food love.
my first food love. Yes, it was. So I love cake, and sometimes to this day, if I'm shopping at the grocery store and they have like small cakes, I'll just cheat off my diet and just buy it because I just can't resist.
Cake is very tempting. Crazily enough, I think because I talked about brownies, I totally just had my mind had left the realm of cake existing. Cake is so good.
It's so good. Like, oh my god, whoever invented it, God bless them.
For real. Actually, I low key want to research now who invented cake.
Yes, whoever it is, I want to give them a big hug. Like they
Okay.
deserve a prize or a medal.
I hope for their own sake, because of how great of an invention it is, that they got rich. You know what I mean? Like, okay, apparently, well, I mean, the concept of cake has evolved over centuries, which makes sense, you know, because there's different type of sweeteners now and stuff like that, like agave or whatever. Across different cultures, according to a quick Google search, it's the earliest form of cake-like foods are attributed to the ancient Egyptians. They created sweetened bread-like items, often with honey, that served as a foundation of what we know for cakes today. And the word itself, cake, comes from Old Norse word kaka, which honestly I wish we kept calling it kaka because that sounds so fun to say. You want some kaka? But yeah,
Ooh, I like interesting history.
right? It makes so much sense with all the Egyptians did that they would also come up with cake. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Oh, bless them for that. So yes, cake is a top favorite, and I like baking a lot during the holidays, like Christmas. I love to bake cookies. So 2 years ago, when my oldest brother and sister in law and my niece and nephews were here for Christmas, I taught my oldest nephew how to bake because he likes baking too. Like he made an apple crisp, which was really good, and I taught him how to make snickerdoodles and chocolate chip M&M cookies.
Oh, that's so precious, like a way to bond with family like that. That's so cute. And the fact that he makes an apple crumble, like, how old is he?
Yeah, he was 15. He's 17 now, but he was 15 at the time, and he made an apple crisp, and it was delicious. Like we all loved it. And it's funny because there was a football game that same night. I think this was, when was it? It was Christmas Eve, and we had a football game in downtown Tampa because our team, the Bucks, were playing against the Jacksonville. What are they? Jaguars?
That sounds right.
They might be something. Nikki would know, but let me see. I just have to look this up. I think they're what are they?
Yeah, all the sports people are just gonna come after us. No, you stupid, it's not that.
No, it's true. It's true. Like yeah, they are the Jaguars. That's right.
Haha, see? She knew.
I knew it. I knew it was that. So yeah, we were playing against them that night, and we won. Of course, we did. But my both of my brothers and my other nephew went to the football game, and my I stayed behind with my mom, my niece, my sister-in-law, and the rest of them. And I remember like the summer after, my dad and my other nephew were like teasing us, saying, "You guys stayed home to bake cookies." And I said, "They were really good cookies." And my oldest nephew agreed. He said, "Yeah, they were really good cookies."
It's like, and y'all don't get to know.
Exactly, because you weren't there. And to be fair, I really didn't feel like spending Christmas Eve at a football game. Like if it was after New Year's maybe, but Christmas Eve, that's when I like to be home. I like to bake, I like to watch movies and just spend time with family. Oh, and another sweet kind of beverage I made that same night were gingerbread cocktails.
Ooh, please tell me more. I would love to get this recipe.
Absolutely. And oh yeah, for anyone who follows me on social media, I did post them on Instagram and Facebook, but basically you put it all in a blender, vanilla ice cream, rum, and let's see, crushed up gingerbread cookies, and then eggnog. And you blend that for about a minute. Then you like add a little gingerbread cookie at the top and some whipped cream. And I made those for myself, my brothers, and my sister in law, and they loved them.
Oh, I'm gonna have to make that. That sounds so good. Man, and David loves eggnog, so I think he'd like it too.
I think he would, yeah. If you like eggnog, you'll love that because you can really taste the eggnog and the gingerbread.
Man, I feel like tomorrow I'm just gonna start making a whole bunch of different things after this episode.
You should. Like I'm
You
tempted
should.
to.
Like, I'm tempted to. For real. And it would be really cute if like if anyone's listening tries any of the recipes, if they could like post it to their stories and then we can post it to ours and be like, see, look how cool they did it. And you can have your own variation too if you don't want to, you know, do it by the book, because sometimes that can be fun too, of adding like a different seasoning, or instead of lamb for the eggplant, let's say, you know, like adding a different type of meat or whatever. And just that would just be so fun to see if y'all do that.
Well, anyways, we hope that we gave you all some inspiration for food, and we hope that maybe you'll think to experiment with some of the recipes, and always be open to exploring different recipes, and just go for it. That's what I learned because you never know what you might like.
So true. And it's just so fun to see how, like with how Lauren and I talked about previously in episodes, how music can unite people. I also have the very much same sentiment with food. So I feel like it's just always a fun thing to talk about because there's so many influences, so many different ways to make great food that's filling and brings people together. And we're glad that we could bring our different inspirations and things we learned together for y'all to hear. So, like Lauren said, we hope you enjoyed everything, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.